I hear something and it draws that.
Well, then tell me about it.
Okay.
So here we are. We're in our next round of interviews.
Okay.
Tell me what you remembered.
Well, I don't know if I've already told you this or not, but when I was in the hospital having my head done, I think the first time, and Dad asked you and AJ to come in the night and stay with me, so you guys took turns.
Yeah.
Because he was so tired at night, and so, but this one night nobody could stay, and I didn't think anything about it. I was out of it. So, but anyway, that night, it's not even an emotional memory, but anyway, I had a kind of like an out-of-body experience. And it wasn't because of my drugs or anything like that. This was real. I was all of a sudden standing at the foot of my bed, and I could see myself laying there. And floating at the top of my head was like an angel or a personage in white clothes, and he had white hair that was down to his neck, but he was facing the door that led into my room, and he wasn't looking at me, but he was floating. I could sense that he wasn't on the ground a little bit, but he was totally turned sideways from me and was just watching the door, and I didn't think much about it, Anyway, so the next day I happened to tell Dad what had happened, and he said, "Oh, I'm glad you told me, because I had prayed that Heavenly Father would watch over you." So anyway, I felt like he was watching over me. I don't know why, but he was, so.
He had an angel guard posted.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I wasn't even going to tell Dad, and I'm glad I did, because then he made it clear why he was there. Anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Oh, thank you.
Spent mostly crying, but oh well.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah. Okay. Try to maintain here.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. Okay, so any other thoughts or impressions?
Why is Greg making you cry?
Huh?
Greg is just making you cry when
I'm just crying.
She brought this one up. I didn't even bring this one up.
Okay, well.
Any other thoughts or impressions from like the last few weeks, or specifically like about Dad or your mom and dad or your siblings, things that we've talked about your growing up?
Let's see. No, if I did, I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now we're going to talk about like your adult life.
Okay.
Okay, so just to sort of recap, after you guys got married, you lived in Anaheim. No, you lived in
Fullerton, and then Anaheim.
Then Anaheim.
Then Laguna Hills.
So then to Laguna Hills, then to San Clemente, then to Irvine.
Right.
Then to Irvine. Then to Irvine, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
No, you had a stint in Huntington Beach.
Oh yeah, we did
for a couple years, right?
Before we moved to the first Watermark.
Before Watermark. So after you guys sold 21 West Jail Loop to us, you went to Huntington, then to Watermark. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, for like 9 months, maybe a year.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about some of like your friends growing up.
Oh, uh-huh.
And So tell me about like your adult life. Like, who were some of your best friends or your really good friends?
Mostly, well, like in Laguna Hills, Susie and Hal, they became our
So
best.
that's where you met them, right?
Yeah, they lived across the street from
That's
us.
how you met them. They were neighbors.
Yeah.
Okay.
And gosh, they stayed friends till they passed away. Let's see, Mary and Rob Houghton, they were our friends from high school, and they stayed, well, we lost track of them after, I think when we moved to Watermark, maybe before that. And they were great. And then in Irvine, Michelle Barlow.
She's a good friend.
She's a good friend. And Paul, I was Relief Society president when he was bishop, and I had my knee done at the same time. And he was so good to come over and so patient. And we just got along so well. Probably because of him, but I did enjoy getting to know him. And
Did you know Michelle is Karen's young women's leader?
oh, she is?
Yeah.
Oh, lucky Karen.
Yeah.
She's so awesome. Margine used to see her regularly at the temple, but now that she hasn't been there, she hasn't been able to see her. I think I just got a thing from her, a new address. But anyway, yeah, they've always kept in touch with us, even when we moved away. They were probably the few people that kind of kept with us. We had a lot of really good friends in Irvine. From the ward. Was it Irvine 4th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Lily Whites and Kramers. I have such really happy memories with all of them. They were all so sweet. Holly Norton. And then Betsy Slight and I became really good friends for quite a while. And we would go to the river with her, and I loved it. But anyway, I would say I had a lot of really good friends.
Yeah.
Kept us on track.
So tell me so how did you meet Susie and Hal? Like, what did you guys just kind of hit it off?
Yeah,
right away?
Well, we met because Amy and Christy were the same age, and Amy would come over to play. And then one day I remember Susie came over, and she was an artist, so she was painting, but she had thought about doing the wood, those wood paintings we did.
Toll painting?
Yeah. And she was asking if Bill had access to wood. And I told her not that kind of wood, really. But anyway, so we started sandblasting, and she did all the artwork, and I just cut out all the, with duct tape, you'd cut out the picture, and then you'd go have it sandblasted. And we did that.
So how old were you guys when you guys met? Like, you were...
well, I think you were
like in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
Early 20s?
Yeah, you were like a few months old when she came over. And
were you guys the same age, or were they
no,
older?
she's 6 years older than me.
Okay.
And Hal's a little bit older than that, I think. But Dad didn't meet Hal at first, but once they met, they clicked. Hal was so nice. And we also had, I don't know if you remember, 2 houses down on our side of the street. June and Mike Howard lived there. He was a policeman.
I don't remember them. I remember the Georges, obviously, but...
The Georges. Oh, that's right,
Connie
yeah.
Yeah.
Benjamin and Andrew. I was just asking Dad the other day if he thought Connie was still living there. I don't know. And then right next to them, can't remember the name of those people that lived next to the Georges. Do you remember? She had long brown hair and she was kind of a flirt, but they had 2 kids about your age. The nice thing was everybody was kind of your age, but the Howards, that was Jennifer and Ricky, and Jennifer was Christy's age.
Ricky.
I think Ricky might have been a little bit younger than you, or a little older. And then next to us was Guy and Sharon, and they had 2 crazy little boys. So it was a nice neighborhood. And then across next door to Susie was Elda and Bill Eakins, and they were members of the church. They were older, and they had owned a health food store. I really
That was
liked.
in Laguna Hills?
Yeah.
And then they moved to Irvine?
No. Oh, maybe I said that wrong.
Because I remember them. They
It's
were in
Ida.
our ward.
I'm sorry. Ida and Bill. That was.
Oh, okay.
But I did love Elda.
Yeah, they were neat. I remember them too.
Elda was my friend, even though she was a lot older. She was wonderful. Wow. Had a lot of good examples.
So what are some things that you remember like doing with your friends in your adult life? Going on trips or hanging out, burger nights or whatever?
Yeah, well that was one of them we did. Oh, and the Halls, Darwin and Susan Hall. I think we knew them a little later on, but yeah, we'd go do burger night. And we did that a lot. That was fun. And the Pates, Janice and Chuck Pate were friends in the Castletons. Didn't know them as well, but Linda I did. But we had a good, let's see, what else would we do? Burger night mostly, and then, if we had church dinners, then we'd hang out. I don't think we traveled with our friends. We did mostly family.
I remember growing up, like going over to Mary and Rob's house, like spending, having dinner or whatever and hanging out with their kids. And
we did that a lot. You and Michelle were the same age, I think. Yeah.
I remember going to Susie and Hal's up in the mountains a few times.
Oh, yeah, they moved to Arrowhead, and that was fun. I spent the night a couple of times with her, and we used to go up there, and that was fun. I'd forgotten that. I think they moved twice up there, and then they stayed. Then they moved down here again. I can't. Bad memory.
It's okay. That's good. I don't know that I ever realized that you met them in Laguna Hills. Like,
yeah.
I knew that, but I don't think
Yeah,
I just always assumed you guys had always been friends.
No, and the weird thing was, the first time Susie and I went out to lunch, I laughed till my cheeks hurt. She just told one story after another. She was hysterical. She's definitely a storyteller. And that was fun.
Okay, so your kids, we're now in our 40s and 50s, right?
Right, yeah.
But like, we don't feel like adults yet. Like, I don't feel like...
You're not.
I know, I'm not. So was there ever a time like that you felt like, well, I'm an adult now? Or you feel like...
When us? No.
Even now you don't?
No, Dad and I never did, which was sad.
I just gave up on that.
Yeah.
No, I
Why
always...
would I want to be that anyway?
Because you see people that are older and you're like, well, I mean, they're an adult.
They're old people.
They're old, but they don't feel that way, or they don't.
I
No.
don't care how they feel.
They don't think about themselves as that either.
I have the Peter Pan syndrome.
I remember Annie telling me that she never thought of herself older than like 19 or 20, and then
Isn't that funny?
she'd look in the mirror and say, "Who's that old hag with all the old wrinkles?" And I just thought she was teasing me, but she wasn't. She meant it.
But she epitomizes like a 19-year-old stuck in an 80-year-old body.
Exactly.
Like,
She was totally like that.
yeah.
Loved to cause havoc. That's true.
Okay, tell me about some of the callings you had like, as an adult. In your adult life.
I
You
made.
mentioned you were Relief Society president.
Yeah, that was in the Irvine 4th Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how old I was, but I had my knee done. I'm not sure if it was my first. I think it was my first knee replacement. And I remember wearing those weird crutches on wheels to church. And anyway, but Sue Robles and Janice Pate were my counselors, and they were awesome. Because I was always afraid to get up in front of people,
Mm-hmm.
so they just kind of took care of that for me. And Chris Arvey, the Arveys were our friends. They were neat. I think she was a homemaking lady. They don't do any of that stuff anymore. It's not important, you know. But she was so good. And then she became the next Relief Society.
After you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was a primary teacher for a lot of the of my growing up, and even when we lived, I don't think when we lived in Anaheim. I just remember that was when primary was on a different day.
Oh, okay.
So I remember taking Christy and dropping her off. Poor kid, she had these big eyes like, "You're leaving me?" She didn't know anybody, but we kept going to primary, but I don't think I taught in Anaheim. Laguna Hills was the first place I taught primary. I think that was. I don't remember it ever being Sunday school. I think it was always primary.
So I don't remember much about Laguna Hills, but so you would go. We went to church. You went to church.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you taught primary in that ward.
Huh?
In Laguna Hills.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys were. Well, you were little.
Yeah.
You were born in that house, so by the time you were 3. Yeah, we lived there 3 years, and you would start primary. But yeah, I usually, and it was still during the week, I think, and I would be a teacher. I don't know when they changed it to Sundays, but anyway, that was a good calling for me because I didn't feel intimidated by the kids or nervous to talk in front of the adults. I was always scared. So
I remember you at times being like compassionate
I was
service leader.
Yeah, I was that before
visiting teaching coordinator. I remember those when you were doing that.
That's right. See, you remember more than I do. I was that before I was Relief Society president. Compassionate service I did after, I think.
That seems like a tailor-made calling for you.
Oh, well, it was. By then I already knew the drill, you know, so it was.
No, but I mean, you're full of compassion, and you have compassion. It's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't a calling. You had that. You have that capacity.
That's nice. Thanks. Well, I love all the sisters. I mean, it's hard not to love them.
Well, I don't know about all of them, but just kidding.
Yeah, there was a few.
Okay, so what has been like your favorite ward?
Oh, Irvine 4th.
Yeah, right. That's kind of an obvious one.
Huh?
That's kind of obvious, right?
Yeah.
That's a great ward.
Although I like the one we're in now, although we don't go, but
nobody does. Don't worry.
Yeah, but because a lot of the people are there still, so.
Yeah, no, they are. In fact, all of those people you just named they're back in our ward now.
I know. See, that's nice. I like that. The Twitchel's left, and Penny Reek.
Left.
The Reeks have gone.
Reeks left.
And who'd you say?
The Arvies.
Yeah, well, they're in St. George. I never looked them up, but they live across the freeway, I think. And that Irvine 4th Ward was the best. And that steak, we helped, we were going to the high school for church before our chapel was built, and so when it started being built, we were a part of that, which was nice. I have kind of a funny story, but I don't know if I should tell it about Dad and helping.
I love this story.
Well, Bishop Norton had told everybody that we were short money and we needed thousands to finish. And so...
The building, the red brick state center,
Yeah. And so one night Dad came home, or he just came home, and then he was drinking some wine and he got a little bit tipsy. And I remember I thought, man, I felt like this feeling. I have a feeling the Lord put it in my head. But
now's my time.
Yeah, it was. And so I asked Bill if we could have a few $1,000s or whatever the bishop needed to help the church. Oh, he laughed. He rolled on the floor, laughed and rolled all over our bedroom floor. He thought that was the funniest thing he ever heard. But he did give it to the church, to our ward. And so I felt like whenever I read the scriptures about, the men that the Lord gets drunk, so he can, I always think of Dad, because that's a good one. It did help.
Cool. That's a great story. I mean, think how that building has been connected to our whole family for
that's true.
Decades.
Yeah, and it probably will be for a long time.
Yeah, that's neat. I remember, I have a memory of when we were waiting while the building was being built. We met at Irvine High School. We had church at Irvine High School, and I remember my primary class, which Sister Briggs was my
she was?
Oh. We were in one of the science rooms that had all of the, aquariums of fish and frogs, and she was trying to get our attention, keep our attention while there's just all this stuff around.
Well, when I have a funny memory. Me and can't remember who was with me. We were the nursery leaders, and Becky, you all too. We met her there at church. I love Becky. She would bring Andra into our room, and so one day she came to pick her up, and she said, "Where did Andra get that gum?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, I don't know. She'd got it underneath the table."
Gross.
Anyway, I always loved that story. We died laughing after Becky got sick and could get over it.
Okay, tell me about I love all of the pictures of our family trips growing up. Tell me about some of your memories about vacations or trips.
Okay, you might have to help remember.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Well, we started out where we went to, when you were alive, and we used to go to Big Bear a lot because Dad's uncle and aunt lived up there, and Jimmy, and we used to stay at their house. And Christy was little, and I loved the mountains. I loved Big Bear. We used to do that, and we lived up there for one summer. We drove up in Dad's El Camino truck, and we had Christy's crib in the back just sitting up there. I mean, we looked like hicks, and we drove to that house, and I loved it. And it was just me and Christy and Dad, and we were down this lane, and all the houses were empty that summer. But I told Dad I never was afraid or anything. It was just such a nice place to be. And Christy was 2. And Susie and George, they were our other friends. Mm-hmm. She was our next door neighbor when we lived in Fullerton. And George was in the service, I think. So when he came back, we did a lot of stuff with the Georges. No, his name was George. Anyway, that picture I put in the family chat of us at Irvine, they were taking that. They were there with us that day. they were good with Chris. Anyway, what was the question?
The trips. You
Oh,
were talking
trips.
about Big Bear.
Okay, so we'd go to Big Bear a lot, and then, but when you got older, and one of our first trips was Big Trees. Is that up in Sequoia?
Well,
yeah. Yeah.
Calaveras County.
Yeah, that was so fun, and we would camp there. And I remember one day we were driving, and there was smoke and fire, and you got so scared. You got down on the floor of the car, and wouldn't come up until I told you that the fire was not there anymore. It was weird. Anyway, you were scared, but it was so pretty, and we used to go. We went there, and then we went to Sequoia. Is that the same place?
It's close.
A little
close to
different. And then we started to go to Yosemite a lot. When you got, I think you were 3 or 4, and then you got chicken pox there. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
Gave it to.
And so I remember we'd go on some of these trips with our neighbors.
Yeah,
like
the Georges.
Or
Yeah.
Susie and Hal.
And Connie and Bill, George. And we only went with Connie and Bill once, but we went with Susie and Hal several times. And then we went to Woodchuck a lot because it was closer too, but it was so fun. And
that place is cool.
It was a fun place. I remember once we went and it was freezing, and we just had a big white van then, and we heated rocks.
I remember that.
And we wrapped them in my
towels.
towels, and we burnt them.
Yeah.
Anyway, we stayed warm that night. I was afraid of you guys freezing. So we went to Woodchuck, and we mainly went to Yosemite a lot. We did go up to Idaho, where my aunt lived, and gosh, do you remember any other places? Mainly Yosemite.
Yeah, I remember going to Yosemite a lot. And
We did go to Yellowstone. We went once, and that was really neat. We have those pictures of us with all this steam, and that was nice.
The other one that jumped to mind was like recently, like going to New York with everybody. That was
that
really
was
cool.
the best. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah, I remember going to Austin.
That was so fun.
That was a cool trip.
Yeah, it was. Y'all stayed in hotels down by Sarah's house. We stayed a week. You stayed a week, right?
Yeah, we went to like San Antonio and.
Oh, that was
saw the
so
Alamo.
fun. That is one of my favorite memories. Everybody was happy, and we had little Luke, and we went to the Alamo. That was awesome. And
that New York one was cool. That was epic.
That was my favorite. That was great. I just wish all the kids could have gone then.
Yeah. Tell me about. Well, do you have any other thoughts on that, or?
You know, one thing about the New York one was when we took the day to go to the temple, and we did so many Prescott names.
Yeah.
And I just watched. I couldn't do anything, but I watched you guys, and we did a lot of names, baptisms, and I remember when we were done, I just kept hearing all these shouts for joy in my head, though no one else was hearing it, and I was so overwhelmed. Felt so happy because I could tell they were happy that I had to go into the restroom and just cry. But I really could hear their shouts of joy and feel it. It was neat. I'd never felt that before. Anyway, that was awesome. And we almost didn't do that. That was a great thing we did.
Yeah, also I remember about that temple, just how, it's right in Manhattan, so it's, you got all the bustle of the streets and it's loud, but you walk inside and you can't hear any of it.
I know, they had a big guard outside too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. It was so pretty.
That's cool. I don't know that I've ever heard you tell that story.
Yeah, it was amazing. I felt so overwhelmed, and I could tell everybody there were. I mean, we did a lot of names, and I could tell that everybody was just so happy. So I thought about that a lot when we've already done all their names.
Yeah.
But that was a beginning. It was great.
Tell me about some of your cars that you've had.
I can't remember them all. We had so many.
Yeah?
I think the first car we had was Nana's Comet. I mean, we had that one. Dad had that in high school. And it was turquoise, and it was pretty awesome. Except there was I got thinking about that. There was no place. I put the car seat, Christy's car seat, on the front seat, and it was a bucket, and I stopped once really fast, and she went flying, and it was terrible. Anyway, so we had a Comet, and then we bought our first Datsun, which I guess is a...
It's a Nissan, isn't it? A Datsun?
Yeah, Nissan.
Was it yellow?
It was yellow and black top.
I kind of remember that.
It was kind of a mustardy yellow bottom, and yeah, I love that car. And Dad bought
Datsun.
Yeah, and then Dad bought a red Ford truck, and we had that red truck for a long time. And once we rented a camper to put on the back, and we went up to Oregon. We went to the east bend of the Kern River. I don't know why I remember that, but anyway, that was a neat adventure. And so we had the truck, and then Dad got smaller trucks. What were they?
I remember the El Camino. You mentioned that one.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones, because that was his dad's truck.
You had the VW bus with the pop top.
Oh, yeah. So that was when we lived in Laguna Hills. But I think we still might have had the red truck. I can't remember. See, when you get old, your mind goes crazy. We had that car I loved that bus. We had that for a long time. And so then when we moved to Irvine.
You had the blue Blazer.
Yeah, and a
station
Monte Carlo.
wagon.
And a what?
A blue station wagon.
Yeah, and then a Monte Carlo. Just a car. But it was a nice car. Probably kind of like a cruiser car.
Yeah.
And then we had another really nice one before. Oh, then we got a really good van called the Villager, and that had the sliding doors. It was white. Do you remember that?
I remember the Safari. That van.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the white panel van Dad had.
Yeah.
The convertible Mustang.
Yeah.
The T-Bird.
Oh my gosh, those were
The Corsica, the Maxima.
You got them all. I couldn't even remember all those. We had a lot of cars. And then Dad, I remember when Dad, I didn't know he was going to get a T-Bird. And someone drove me home one day. I can't remember where I was. And dropped me off in the back alley. And I saw this really dark gray, beautiful, Thunderbird. Is that what they were? Thunderbird?
Yeah. T-Bird, yeah.
And I said, whose is that? And Dad got out of the car. Mine. I just thought, oh my gosh, we were like car poor. And that was nice.
I remember that car was like state of the art. It talked to you and told you that your door was ajar.
That's right.
I vaguely remember like when there was like a strict policy of no eating in the car.
Yeah.
And what did Christy, did she spill like a milkshake or something in it, or?
Oh, I don't know. Probably.
I thought something happened, like.
She freaked. we had to clean it up probably pretty fast. I don't even think I drove it very often.
Yeah.
That's true. I think that's it. And then Dad got his Batman car, Bat car, and then the white one we have now. I think. That's it.
Okay, anything else that you can think of, like, kind of during your adult life? What was like one of the hardest things about raising children?
I don't know. I guess mainly just everybody getting along.
Need the signature. Oh, I can just put in your last name.
Who's that?
That'd be,
Delivery.
yeah. Okay. All right. Hey,
Um,
how's it going? How's everything going?
I just the fighting. I didn't like that. Although I don't feel like we fought that much, but I think that was it more than anything. Not getting along. I don't know. You might remember more than me.
Well, I mean, what do you remember, like, as a mom, a young mom, like, what stressed you out about your young family?
I guess just everybody being safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We pretty much just. I always wanted everybody to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
I always, if you kids could go over or have someone over after school, I was always happy to do that, or go take you somewhere. I always wanted everybody to be happy, because I always felt like we had to work a lot when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Which probably isn't true, but that's how I felt. And so I just remember that.
I remember I was always happy when you wanted me to run to the store to get milk and you gave me $2 and it wasn't $2 and I just kept the change.
Exactly. I'm sure it was worth it.
Okay, what is somewhere that you've always wanted to travel to but like never got the chance, or just
the whole world?
But like where in particular? Like what is your dream? Man, I wish I could go there.
Gosh, I've seen so many lately on Rick Steves. I think England, the west, the really pretty green area. I don't really know what that's called. Westmoreland or whatever, but I would love to go there. Just looks so beautiful. Probably where the house from Pride and Prejudice is in there. That would be fun. And Switzerland. I've always wanted to go there. Just looks so amazing.
Yeah. What is like your favorite kind of family tradition that we have?
Oh, well. I'm thinking. I know we have a lot of them. I go blank in a minute. I'm gonna have to think on that one for a minute.
Cool.
I was thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Let's see, what was it? See? I was thinking of another place we used to travel to a lot, and now I lost it. I'll have to wait till it comes back. See?
Okay.
I can't remember anything.
Okay. All right. Anything else like from your adult life? Maybe I didn't ask the question, or just this sort of sticks out to you, or an experience, or something you learned, or.
One thing when we were older, and like Margene was married, and Kathy was getting married, and we all did things with my family a lot. My sisters and their kids. And I loved that. We would get together with the cousins and I feel like and my mom and dad, I feel like we were really close.
Yeah.
And we did that a lot, and that was good. I think about that. I miss those times. And it's just so nice to have Margene close. But I miss, my mom and dad would come over a lot, and that was nice. So, anyway.
But now, like, your house is the gathering place,
Yeah.
Everyone comes here.
Which I like.
Yeah. I remember that too, though. Like, growing up, it seemed like we were always going to Grandma and Grandpa's, or we were hanging out with the Wrights, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were. We did. And Margene lived really far away, but at first they lived in Whittier, and we used to go out there when you and Ryan were really small. And that was fun.
Anything else coming to mind, or...
I'll probably have a million things, but as an adult, right?
Yeah. Or just whatever.
I thought of something, but I just can't bring it forward again. Well, one of the things that I miss a lot now that we used to do was go up to Christie's every 3 months at least. And sometimes I would go by myself, and sometimes Margene would drive me, and sometimes we'd all go. But it was always so fun to be at her house, and especially her house now. I always felt like that's like another home.
Totally.
I miss that house. I miss them. But we did that a lot. In fact, AJ jokes because we didn't really go on any vacations. We went to
We only went
Christie's.
to Utah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was
heard him
in
say
promise, AJ and Sarah, when we get there, I'll take you to the secondhand store. Can't remember what it's called now, but and I mean, I barely got my things put down, and we're ready, Mom. Let's go. And it would
go.
just be, yeah. They had to buy jeans and stuff, so that was fun. But we did that a lot. That took up a lot of our vacation.
We did a lot of St. George trips too.
Yeah, that last 9 years? It was wonderful. I know Dad and I really miss that, but he feels really good about helping Gary right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool.
Yeah.